Alright everyone, saner heads do appear to have prevailed in the Iran v. Israel crisis. Of course, Hamas attacks Israel, Israel invades Gaza, Iran rattles sabers about it, and then their consulate gets attacked. The Israelis decide to destroy their consulate in Damascus, killing several people, and then they, of course, had to retaliate. So the other day, they fired off hundreds of missiles, they sent hundreds of drones in. Iron Dome and US, UK, and actually Jordanian forces largely intercepted the missiles and the drones. There were no casualties. There was relatively little infrastructural damage. Then Israel, of course, had to respond. And what I said several days ago is that the way that you do that is you call up the Iranians and you let them know that you're going to do a very limited strike. They're free to intercept what they want because you did the same thing. And you can avert a potential regional catastrophe in which nuclear-armed Israel and relatively large, sophisticated military Iran end up in it. Syria would get dragged into such a conflict. The Lebanese would get dragged into the conflict. It could involve the Egyptians, the Turks, NATO could get involved, Russia could get involved. It could cause World War III. It was very dangerous. Thankfully, the Iranian response to Israel's retaliation, to their retaliation, to Israel's strike, to basically it's turtles all the way down. It's a very complex issue, and it does root in weak Western leadership originally. Thankfully, the Iranian response from their defense minister was, ha ha ha, our kids play with these things as toys, and we're not even going to bother responding to you. That was exactly the right response. Thank you very much, Tehran, because otherwise, you know, we might be seeing mushroom clouds in the coming months. It looks like crisis has been averted. Israel took an opportunity to strike. It was a blunder. They should not have attacked the Damascus consulate. It was a terrible idea. They should have known that there'd be retaliation. They probably wanted that in order to test out Iron Dome. Hey, you know, normally Iron Dome deals with bottle rockets and shit like that. It doesn't have to deal with a wide-ranging attack that's coming all at once from a nation with relatively sophisticated missile systems and actually some of the top-of-the-line drones that you can get anywhere in the world. We've never really stress-tested against that. Let's antagonize the Iranians. That'll be fun. And so Israel attacked them physically for for the first time, actually, in that manner. And then Iran responded in kind with a similar attack. Then Israel retaliates against the Iranians, but it was measured. So good on Iran for your response, good on Israel for not hauling off and bombing a bunch of shit in Tehran or something like that, which they could physically do. It gives everyone an exit door, an exit ramp, so to speak. It gives everyone a way out to a sticky situation that otherwise would necessarily boil over. I'm wondering if the advice that I gave the other day wasn't exactly what happened before this actual strike occurred, which is that the Israelis and the Iranians called each other on the phone and said, look, you know, we're trying to extract ourselves from this situation. There is a way out. There's actually a way we can do this feasibly while appeasing our populations and not getting overthrown. Ta-da! And they did it. They managed to pull it off. Can you imagine the idea that that Western leadership, like Biden or someone, would be able to engineer such a situation? No. Biden has been spending this entire time wiffle-waffling back and forth on the issue. He chastises Israel, but then gives them a shit ton of money. Congress does too, in all honesty. They never want to shut off that spigot for various reasons. Rambles about the Iran deal, tries to blame Trump for the situation inexplicably. Then he says, well, we've got to keep in mind the civilians in Gaza. We call for restraint and want a ceasefire, but then never do anything to cause the ceasefire. The situation has escalated already into a regional conflict. Thankfully, it doesn't appear that it's going to become a cataclysmic regional conflict, at least at this time. Another event could occur. Next time, cooler heads may not prevail. It's still a very dangerous situation when you have this sort of thing going on. But thankfully, at least at the moment, between Israel and Iran, things have just gone back to, they fucking hate each other. Alright, they ramble about each other, Iran screams death to Israel, the Israelis vow to destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities, and they go back and forth and they saber rattle, and then at some point the Iranian leadership comes out and says, well, when we say death to America, you know, it's actually a term of endearment. I think there might be some gaslighting there, actually. This would have become, if things had popped off, if Israel had launched a massive strike against Iran, or if the Iranians decided to retaliate against Israel after Israel struck them, it would go back and forth and probably escalate. I mean, you'd lose millions of lives at that point. And it wouldn't be just the Middle East. Some people out there will say, well, I don't really care. Haha, let them kill each other. Yeah, the problem is that other parties are involved diplomatically. Russia's very much involved with Iran's defense. It's effectively a proxy state of theirs. We're very interested in Israel's defense. They're effectively a gigantic military base in the Middle East that we use as a springboard. There's a direct military alliance on both ends. You would end up with a conflict between the two main nuclear powers in the world and their spheres. Whether defensive or offensive on either side would remain to be seen. I mean, muddying the waters, really both of them antagonized one another. It would be difficult to determine who actually was the defending party. And so probably you'd have a nuclear war at some point. At the very least, you'd have a cataclysmic standard conflict in which millions of people would be killed, civilian and military alike. It's not what anyone wants. I believe in a real beefy defense system for the United States, but I believe in generally keeping it at home or in nations that really like us, and so they have no problem with us being there. Send our U.S. troops out, and they can have their testosterone-fueled vacation at taxpayer expense. I'm not going to begrudge them that. That's fine. They join the Marines. If they can get through that training, you should probably pay them some money because they might kill you otherwise. And send them to South Korea or the UK or Poland or some friendly nation, somewhere where they can, flirt with the girls and eat interesting food and shit like that, because they probably grew up in Dayton and they never ate anything other than chicken nuggets before. So send them to India or something like that. Perfectly fine. World War III appears to have been, at least for now, averted. We should probably all be thankful. Ironically, we're not thanking Western leadership. We're thanking the goddamn Israelis and Iranians at the moment. It's inexplicable. Every other country within the sphere has to take the fore because the leadership is so weak in the United States and other comparable nations. And Russia's a little bit busy right now, so Iran sort of has to fend for itself diplomatically unless all hell really breaks loose. So, you can't really count on Putin to broker a peace deal or something like that. He doesn't care about a ceasefire. Even the Chinese were warning everyone to be restrained. No, it takes a while before Brazil decides to weigh in as well. That one was pretty funny. That's about all. Peace out.